that they are not to inherit the house after his death. And while we in the Shia world are used to this level of asceticism, others cannot fathom how someone who wields so much power and controls vast sums of money can be so detached from personal comforts. What you need to understand is that Ayatollah Sistani sees himself as a small student of Imam Ali. This, my dear viewers, is the single most important message in the Pope's visit to the holy city of Najaf. That as great as Ayatollah Sistani is, as unparalleled as he is, as incredibly humble as he is, as accessible as he is a reflection of the legend of Ali that inspires our leaders with such modesty and self-discipline. It was his life, meaning that of Ali, that taught us that true love can only be acquired when one genuinely cares for others, such that he experiences the life of the poorest and most marginalized people. Imam Ali, whose grave blesses Najaf, and his shrine is the center of this holy city, was an ascetic, just like his brothers Jesus and Moses. But unlike those prophets, Ali was a leader of 50 present-day nations, from northern Libya to eastern Afghanistan. Yet despite his expansive and powerful empire, lived in such extreme austerity that baffles people to this day, and has garnered the kind of devotion that over 1 billion Muslims, as well as many non-Muslims, revere him for. He had no bodyguards and despised the idea of an entourage. He had only one article of clothing and stitched his own shoes. When he moved to this very same city of Najaf, Imam Ali refused to step into the palaces of his predecessors and instead lived in a mud house he built with his own bare hands. His food was so stale and simple that his guests often appealed to his children to show mercy to their father by adding some oil to the rock-hard barley bread that was his only meal. His ethos was to live at the same standard as his poorest citizens, and was so accessible that a Jew once came to the city and asked about him and was told that he could find him digging wells for the public. Imagine the emperor, the king, the leader is out there digging wells with his own bare hands so that strangers passing by would have access to water in those barren lands. So this Jewish man searches for Ali, and when he sees him, he notices that Imam Ali was resting under a palm tree, all alone, taking a rest from the laborious task. He looked at Ali and he said to him, "Adalta fatma'nant." Your justice makes you safe, as he had no fear of being assassinated. Let us pray, my dear brothers and sisters, Muslim and Christian, that let world leaders realize, as does the Vatican, that the Shia are a major global community that must not only be recognized, but respected. It is this very community that defended the Christian minority in Iraq when ISIS unleashed its poisonous fangs. It is the same community that has insisted on equal rights for all Iraqis, irrespective of faith or ethnicity. It is these same people that contribute to their respective communities across the globe, as immigrants, as citizens, and as religious leaders. It is high time we are treated not as a small sect or a political entity, but as a worldwide community devoted to peace and justice. The fact that Iraq is a democracy that awards all of its citizens equal rights is because of the Shia, who represent the majority. But more importantly, it is thanks to the Shia religious authority that ensured minorities do not feel disenfranchised by their government. Despite the fact that Christians played a part in the Saddam regime For example, Tariq Aziz, Saddam's vice president, was a Christian, while the Shia were Saddam's #1 victims. Yet that did not mean that we would hold all Christians responsible for the crimes of the Ba'ath Party. Far from it. It was the Shia religious leaders that stipulated that such religious minorities as Christians are to be protected, and that we would lay our lives for their safety if we had to. We strive to adhere to the statement, the timeless declaration of Imam Ali, who upon appointing a new governor to Egypt, told him, people are either your brothers in faith or your counterparts in creation. These eternal words could only stem from a true vicegerent of God like Ali. This is why any Christian who has come into contact with his legend cannot help but fall in love with him. As the famous Lebanese Christian author and poet Paul Salama says, لا تقل شيعة هواة علي إن في كل منصف شيعية. Don't say that it's only the Shia that adore and love Ali. Anyone with the slightest hint of decency can't help but fall in love with him. هو فخر التاريخ لا فخر شعب يصطفيه ويدعيه وليا. He is the pride of history, not just a group of people. جلجل الحق في المسيحية حتى صار من فرط حبه علويا. Love has flourished in this Christian man, he says, to the point where he's absolutely in awe and in love with Ali. أنا من يعشق البطولة والإلهام والعدل والخلق الرضية. I am someone, he says, that loves bravery. I love these great virtues. I love justice. I love good morals. فإذا لم يكن علي نبيا فلقد كان خلقه نبويا. If Ali was not a prophet, then he had prophetic morals and ethics. سفر خير الأنام من بعد طه ما رأى الكون مثله آدميا. يا سماء اشهدي ويا أرض قري واخشعي إنني قد ذكرت عليا. O heavens, you should bear witness. O earth, you must settle and bow down, for I have called the name of Ali.